Hello everyone and welcome to Weekend Rental episode 81. We are your gaming and geek culture podcast. My name is Ryan. As always, I'm joined by Andy.
Hey.
And Cartridge. Yum. Nate.
Howdy, Cowboys.
All right. If you enjoy our content and want to check out some other geek-related content, podcasts, articles on wrestling, beer, video games, and more, you can find all of that over at geekade.com. What's your geek? What are we doing here? We don't have Byron Byrne to kick us off.
No, and you awkwardly introduced me, so thank you for
that.
I
expertly introduced you, I think, is what we're looking for.
Cartridge yum. Don't you forget it.
I've already got it tattooed on my lower back. Don't you worry.
Look forward to seeing that.
Want to blow on that cartridge?
Oh my gosh. This is already going downhill really quick.
Got the E for explicit right away. Got that out of the way. Gosh. First 2 minutes.
I use Q-tips and alcohol, but that's just me.
It only burns for a little while, right?
A good cleaner. It's a good cleaner.
So Microsoft Flight Simulator's on Game Pass. I don't know if you guys saw this. It got released. It's out there on Game Pass PC. It uses the much touted Bing mapping service that everyone goes to look at the world map, the Bing. But it pulls it in, and it's got the real world and the houses and stuff, and you can put in an Xbox controller, and after 30 minutes on the struggle bus like me, you can figure out how to take off and crash into your house, which is pretty cool.
Were you just literally pushing every single button possible until you could get going?
Yeah, because I refused to read the tutorial.
Don't need it.
And I just had the keyboard and mouse for a while, and it's like, turn off the parking brake. I'm like, all right, slap, and like nothing's happening. Like the view is shifting, like throttles are moving up and down. I have no idea what's going on. So I tried that for like 20 minutes before I was like, nope, I'm just putting in a controller. And then the controller scheme was way easier. So I learned parking brake and I learned accelerator, and I was able to take off. So I've crashed into my house, flew and crashed into my parents' house, attempted to make it to my parents' house and crash into Walmart. That happened. You'd think you'd avoid Walmart, but I didn't. And then, it's cool. It's really good. So it read my computer and it recommended standard settings based on what I had. And it was like high, but not like ultra. So when I got in there at first, I was like, this doesn't look right. Like, it doesn't look like I saw people playing it online. And sure enough, I had to go in and like ramp up the building and the visual settings to like ultra and stuff, and it runs great still. And it's awesome. You get in a plane, you fly around like your actual town, and it's mostly there.
I think you're officially red listed now.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like Big Brother's watching this and they're like, oh, this guy's a terrorist. He doesn't even, he just is trying to figure out how to take off, and he's ramming into Walmarts. He's taking out people.
Yeah.
You are now a terrorist, Ryan. Terrorist.
I've been talking to my boss about this at work, and I was like, how many copies of this day one do you think ISIS purchased? Because this is it's a true to life simulation. Like, if you were going to plan an attack against America, sure as shit you're playing this game. They probably already have Game Pass on every computer.
Do you think they're using Xbox controllers, so when they get in the cockpit, they're like, wait a second, this is very different.
For sure. There's the USB port in the cockpits that you just hook the Xbox controllers into. I don't know.
Worst feature ever. That'd be hilarious.
That was the first thing I thought, though, was like, oh, people are going to use this to do bad stuff. Like, this is really cool. I'd like to point out one thing to Microsoft, too. They should probably realize it's 2020, and maybe you launch an executable that allows you to pre-install a game in the background instead of launching the executable to open a window to download a 100 gig game and then include a back track to that you can't turn off. It just plays the same music forever.
So nice. We're 100 gigs.
So this is downloading. I'm like, what the heck? Like, really? There's music? So I put on another game, and I played for like 2 hours listening on loop to this stupid flight simulator music because I had no way to turn it off.
Jeez.
Who does this?
That's
Who?
nuts.
I want to go
And
back
then
to your Xbox controller comment real
Yeah.
quick. That I feel
Sure.
that if a captain does go down and people are running out, like, does anybody know how to fly this? That little controller plugin might be very, very helpful.
So you're thinking they should actually implement this?
Yes. So then
Yeah.
Ryan can say, "I've crashed in my house before. I got
So I can be like,
this."
who wants a crash land at Walmart? Hands in the air.
Problem is the plane uses like USB Mini, and everybody's moving on to USB-C, so it's just a major problem.
Yeah,
We all
that's
die
no
because
good.
of it.
Does anybody have an old Android? Old Android. We're going down.
Yeah. No, it's really cool though. Like, especially like I was curious on like buying it, but I wanted to wait for a sale, and I was like, oh, of course it's on Game Pass for PC. It's Microsoft, and yeah, it's really neat. It's really neat to just hop in, and you can literally, the globe's there. You can pick anywhere on the globe, the time of day, hop in and go, and yeah, it's
Interesting.
pretty damn lifelike. And I haven't even been to the cities that they've like done the extra detail dive on. I've only done the ones that are like rendered off of like satellite images. Fargo's ugly. No shocker.
I remember this was Windows probably 95-ish, that flight simulators were kind of just taking off. Haha, joke there, plain joke. It was just taking off, and I don't know. I can't even remember. I think I talked my dad into picking up a game with the joystick.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think I was in the same boat where I was just really pushing every single button, trying to figure this thing out. No time for tutorials. And that Windows 95 computer, I don't even remember what it was, could not even run that game. It was dead in the water right away.
Jeez. Wow.
Waste of money.
Yeah.
My dad let me know that.
I feel like this is finally like the flight simulator we were all pretending we played up to this, where you're like, it's so real. But now you're looking out the window and you're like, no, it's really real. This is pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is really crazy. I wanted to try it, but obviously the $100 or the 100 gigs to find on my hard drive, that's a little tough to find. And then the load times are crazy too, right?
It's not good. Initial load up is pretty rough, and then when you change locations, it's pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for modern day standards with an SSD.
Yeah. But yeah,
I highly recommend it though. If you have Game Pass, it's really fun just to like get in there and be like, I'm gonna go to X's house, or I'm gonna go check out this place I've never been. And
what's the
apparently there's,
longest
like,
flight you've taken?
I made it from Park Rapids to Detroit Lakes and crashed in the Walmart. So that's the longest flight I've taken. That was about 20 minutes of my time because it wasn't a very fast plane.
That's all I had.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I made it 40 miles by car. But I'm gonna experiment. I'm gonna go check out some places I've never been, which is a lot of places. So we're gonna do that.
Western North Dakota.
Yep, never been.
Nice.
You can't go there right now anyway because of COVID. Even in a plane, you can't.
Yeah, stay away from that.
Yeah, get the hell out of here.
Actually, crash the plane and fix that problem. Sorry,
Well,
that
at least
was
a handful
dark.
of cases.
That was dark. Take that back.
So, I wish there was a mode that they could just drop you in a random spot
Maybe there is. I don't know.
on Earth, and then you have to try and figure out where you are. That'd be pretty.
Find your way home with no
Yeah.
GPS.
Yeah.
Be all right. Yeah. I had my son playing a little bit tonight. He dive bombed Grandma and Grandpa's house. That was pretty cool. Took a video
with a
of
smile
it.
on his face and laughter.
Yeah. He loved it.
Oh my
He was
gosh.
having a good time. And we had a seaplane. My parents live out in lakes country, so he was like bouncing off a lake, just like nosedive. Because like I have collision detection off, so he's just like freaking plowing into bodies of water and taking back off. And
Atta
it
boy.
was pretty good. pretty good.
Kamikaze style.
Yeah.
The giant bomb one video of that's pretty good. They take like Boeing 747s and they try and dive into the Grand Canyon and fly through the Grand Canyon with them.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's kind of the beauty of it, really. It's like you create your own fun. Like, yes, this is a game that is meant to be taken very, very seriously, but if you're willing to do the opposite of that, it's a good time too.
Yeah. I think it's coming to console too. Eventually.
Yeah, I think they said Xbox One. I think that's why the Xbox controller support is there.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah.
So I'm going to pick that up on launch. Pay $69.99 for it. Just like Farm Simulator.
Oh, that'd be on
Didn't
Game Pass.
They back down on that now, didn't they? I think 2K was like, no, it's not going to be $70 anymore. It's going to be 60. So
I think Call of Duty though now is 70, but they're saying it's because you get both versions. You know,
you get extra duty if you pay
Yeah.
$10 more.
Yeah.
Oh, so you get the upres plus the. Who's playing both versions though?
right. So it's
crossplay.
Yeah, it's not both versions that way. I mean, like you get Xbox One and then Xbox Series X, so you get like the free upgrade. Yeah.
Well, but still, that's not worth it. Just buy one or the other.
Yep.
Dumb. So are they not making a Xbox One X version then? Will
I think
only
they
be
are.
Xbox One, and then it includes the upgrade. Because why sell 2 SKUs then?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
Ryan and I took an interesting adventure. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Ryan came over for kind of a game night. We tried staying in the retro world. It didn't really last that long. I think we played. What did we play? Twin
Jay and
Eagle?
Silent Bob. We played Rekka. We played Twin Eagle. No, not Twin Eagle. We played what's that SNK one?
Image Fighter.
Image Fighter.
Yep.
Yes, those 3. We tried one more. I don't remember.
Rekka wrecked us. That was.
I mean, I got to the second level on my first go. Nate made it about 2 seconds in. And it was pretty comical. But then I couldn't get anywhere on Image Fight. Like I was stuck on the first stage forever.
Which is less intense than Rekka.
Right. I mean, not for me, apparently.
You're just a shooter god. Amazing. Anyways, we shifted things to the Xbox to jump into Darksiders Genesis. And that was kind of an interesting situation, or just interesting game to begin with. I think it looks pretty decent. But it was like a 70-inch TV, and we're playing couch co-op. And what was like the screen? Maybe like a 12 by 12 screen on there?
Yeah, I would say the ratio with a split screen that was 70-some inches, I would say your character was about literally an inch tall.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And then that doesn't include button prompts that you're supposed to see.
There were so many menus. You couldn't even see what was happening. It was very disappointing. And then we got to a point where you can't really figure out where to go because you can't see anything.
Because the camera doesn't adjust.
No,
which is like
camera adjustments.
Which is like Diablo 3. And Nate was like, if they just had camera adjust, I'm like, no, Diablo 3 figured this out. This game is just designed like shit, and it's impossible.
It's still fun. I think it's still fun, but
it's okay. It makes me want to just play Diablo 3 though.
Yeah, maybe. I've never played a Diablo game, so.
Well, we'll do that next because it's so much better. But anyway, I didn't mean to get you off track.
No, there wasn't much more to this crappy story. It was just.
What about the stuck part? You figured out the puzzle that we couldn't solve, right? Eventually.
Yeah, and that's really stupid. So where we were roaming around, so we got to the second level, I believe.
Yeah,
and it turns out where the shopkeeper is, and you're just kind of roaming around. That is not an actual level. That's just kind of a middle level between to get prepared for the next level. So you go back to where you spawn to meet up
level
with this.
1?
Yeah.
Oh, you go back to that like plane thing?
You go back to the circle in the middle and then just press next chapter. It pissed me off. Yeah, I was like, wait a second. We walked around
there for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just bad game design. Like, it fundamentally, the game plays fine. It's a really watered down Diablo, and they were really trying to capture that Diablo feel, but they just failed on like the critical pieces.
And some of the strange things when you're playing couch co-op, you have to go find a pillar at the very beginning to spawn the second player. So if you can't find that, or if you're not paying attention to it, you can't figure out how to get the second person on the screen.
Does that exist in the second level when you start?
Yeah, it just continues. Okay. Yeah. So there's
different
different points that, you can spawn a second player, but the lack of prompts. There's enough prompts, but the lack of the proper prompts where it's telling you, okay, go here for this, or some type of map system. I eventually figured out how to use the map, but even then the map is just, you have the map and then a general circle where you're at, not an exact circle. So you can't figure out what you're looking for.
Yeah, I also appreciate that the first level, which was like a good hour-long level, keeps about, 12 button presses and tells you what they do. It keeps that on screen. It occupies the entire lower portion of your screen. And it's only after completing that level that you can go to the shopkeeper and ask him to turn it off.
What?
Because that's good game design.
Yeah.
Top notch.
Wow. That's why the screen was so tiny, because there's multiple prompts and then you have all these power-ups. So I kind of was a long-range attack, and so I had all these different shots. So there's another menu of shots to the right. There's a menu down below of button prompts. A left is, map or something like that. So you're looking at this tiny screen on a 70-inch TV, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Wow.
I just really wanted that camera to shift down a little bit so you can look out. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it's a perfectly fine game that could have used a good amount of polish to become better than just meh.
So with the Darksiders, I don't know anything about Darksiders, but when on Game Pass, there's Darksiders 3. Is that tied in with that game?
Yeah, I mean, they're all in the Darksiders universe. 3 is the one that came before this, and I think was generally considered not great. Okay. What you want to do is go back and play 1 and 2. 1 is basically Ocarina of Time in more or less style of game, and then 2 is more of like an open-ish map with like it almost feels like a PlayStation 2 game.
Is it still top
those
down,
are both really good.
Kind of 3/4?
No. They're 100% different.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're third-person action adventure games, right over the shoulder, like a Uncharted or Tomb Raider.
Interesting.
They're much better.
Yeah. Huh. Well, yeah, it was a weird experience, but so I didn't just put it away. I've been playing it a little bit, trying to figure out what to do. So can't get out of second level because that end boss is brutal. So,
jeez.
Yeah, the first one was tough.
Yeah, they don't get easier.
Do you play as one of the horsemen then? Like
2 of them.
Because they were okay.
You play as Fury and is it Fury? What was the other one? There's 2
Starts
of them.
With
One's got a gun.
Slay? No.
Well, it would be
something like that.
What's the 4 horsemen? War, pestilence. I don't even remember.
I don't know, something. You play as 2 of them.
Yeah.
I think if you're by yourself, you alternate between the 2, and then if you're playing co-op, obviously one is.
And actually, during co-op, you can switch characters.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I liked my character. Yours was kind of a pussy.
Well,
he gets killed way too easy because he doesn't have block.
I think our characters. I think that was user error, really, to just be honest with you.
Oh,
but
okay.
But you said you were long range, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the combat wasn't overly deep. It relied heavily on like do enough damage to initiate an executable, which
just button mash.
Right. Not the worst game. I'm glad I didn't buy it before it came to Game Pass. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend money on it for sure.
You been playing anything new, Andy?
Yeah, I've been playing a game called Undermine. It's on Game Pass, which it's basically Rogue Legacy. If you've ever played that, it's kind of like a roguelike, but you keep a portion of the money or whatever you earn, the coins, between runs, and then you upgrade your damage and all that stuff. So you, over time, theoretically get a little bit better and better till you get to the end boss.
Nice.
And yeah, it's pretty fun.
2D, 3D.
Yeah, it's kind of overhead, like Zelda.
Oh, sure.
Overhead Zelda. And just kind of, it's a lot of Binding of Isaac kind of in there too, where you get random different modifiers. So how the modifiers stack is really like how you break the game and get really good at it.
Sure.
So I really love Binding of Isaac, and that kind of scratches the same itch with the upgrades too. So it's a lot of fun, but it's one of those games where you spend an hour and you might not get anywhere, and that's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, that's always kind of rough. When you get some bad rolls in those types of games, it's enough to make you just never want to pick it up again. But then when you get one that's great, man, it's fun.
Yeah.
You ever play Dead Cells?
Yep.
Was that kind of in the same vein? I mean, that's 2D, obviously, but
yeah, it's a lot like that. Dead Cells doesn't have the super crazy modifiers.
Okay.
It's a little bit more straightforward, and it's obviously a lot more tight on the action. With I don't know. I don't know if I actually beat Dead Cells. I got really far in it, but it's good.
I bought a physical version on one of those like GameStop, like buy 2 get 3 free in-store things at one point. I've just never gone back to play it.
Yeah. It takes a lot of practice, and you gotta get kind of like good at it.
Yeah, I mean, I keep watching the Philip Mewson review, and it gets me really amped for it. So one of these days, I'll do it. I was really amped. I think we've talked a little bit about Tony Hawk and that 1 and 2 remaster. So I was like, screw it, demo's out. I'll just plunk down the $50, pre-order it so I can play it. And yeah, I don't know. It's like so close, but it's not. I mean, keep in mind, I don't have the twitch reflexes I probably once had. The base character is starting out at what I assume is bottom barrel stats, but I struggled to pull off some of the stuff. Like, they give you the full move set up to Underground, which apparently in Underground, they enabled like a wall kick. Like, you can kick off a wall and like jump back. I'd never done that, so I was like, oh, that's cool. But there's something about the physics in and out of like quarter pipes that just does not work for me. I kept flying out of them unintentionally, and it was breaking my combos. And I don't know if that's just like how the series progressed past, because I stopped playing after 3, really. I played a little bit of 4. So I had a lot of fun with it, but I got to relearn. And actually there's the option in there to change the move settings back to like Tony Hawk 1 or Tony Hawk 2, so you can cap yourself at what's achievable, and I can get rid of the revert, which I've been complaining about, which is great. But yeah, looks incredible. The lighting, really good HDR. It's very clear that I think in the base game you're going to have new open areas in their standard levels, because Warehouse definitely appears to have a door and an outside area that you should be able to access. I'm assuming it's going to take like something in the game that is not in the demo to make that happen.
I was going to say, because if it was in the demo, they'd be able to figure it out by now, right?
Yeah, but I think because there's no items, because you know how like with Tony Hawk, like a lot of them, like there was an item on a ledge or something that kind of like led you to it. And I think that's going to be the case, but that's kind of cool that they're doing that, because they're keeping the level, but they're just adding like a whole new area, that's fun.
Yeah. And I think they kind of needed that, because like that the graphics do look incredible, but when you look at Warehouse, it's like, that's a tiny level, it's like, well, and they're all, they get bigger and better as you go, but from there, but it's still cool that they might be adding some stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to go. It doesn't take away, it just adds in a positive way that really, if you're a purist and you didn't want to do it, you wouldn't have to. You could still enjoy it as it was. And so yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it. I think I'll get to the point where it's going to feel comfortable and I'll figure it out. I struggled a little bit. I mean, I was still putting together like 300,000 point runs, which isn't bad for Warehouse, but yeah, I don't know. And then the best part is like, so obviously I haven't touched my YouTube channel since I think I uploaded around Christmas was the last thing. So I was like, screw it. I'm excited about this. I got nothing going on. I'll just take 30 minutes and live stream it. So I live streamed Tony Hawk for 30 minutes and lost 4 subscribers. So thanks YouTube. Appreciate everyone coming out.
That will do it.
So that was good. Worth it.
So with the quarter pipe problem, do you think you were holding up when you were going out of the quarter pipe and doing that?
See, I don't know. I don't know if it's because I was ollieing too late. I was playing around with it, like in that half pipe that's in the level. And like sometimes it felt like it. I honestly think that if you're manualing into a quarter pipe, it just wants to throw you out the other side, which is really difficult if you wanted to like manual, do like a grab and a spin, revert down and do the other side. And that's where it kept getting me. I'm sure it's user error to some extent. It was just far too easy to break it. To what I was used to anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's realistic. If you manual into a quarter pipe, you're going to eat your ass pretty much.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. But yeah, still looking forward to it. I mean, I don't know if it was worth paying the $50 to get the digital version of a game that I want on physically, but whatever. I'll buy it in a bargain bin at some point.
Yeah. It's better than 5.
Yes.
It's better than HD, which I've played today.
Yeah, I felt bad when you sent me that screenshot. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
No. And that's just the first game, right? Like that doesn't have 2, or does it have levels from 2?
It has some levels from 2, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely does. I don't think there's any from 3 though. No, it's just 1 and 2. But yeah, I like reorganized my gaming setup, and I had a lot of consoles and stuff set up already, but then I decided to put a flat screen over there and then hook up like the older gen HD ones up too. So I had the 360 and then noticed that was on there, so I booted that up, tried that out for a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like I need to maybe get a like sprinkler over there, like a fire extinguisher, because I think it's 23
Oh my gosh.
plugins over there right now, and that might be too many.
Off of how many wall sockets?
It would be 4 plugs, yeah. So
okay, wow.
But two sockets, but yeah.
Nice. Well, as long as it's not sparking, you're doing all right, I think.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
For now. Just daisy chain those suckers. I think it's fine.
Yep.
I feel that way with my large Trinitron, and where I have all the like retro systems. It's pretty questionable. So I have a rack mount like monster power surge protector of some sort, and I have it going to one outlet. I also have the TV plugged into it, and then all of the systems. And then it's bad when you're like finagling the NES and Super Nintendo bricks that don't alternate in the proper ways, and you're trying to they're barely hanging on, but I'm like, I got power to these, so that's something. So, it's gonna burn down my house one of these days.
Yeah, those bricks are the worst. Like Sega, like if you have the 32X, the CD, and the Genesis, that's three bricks, all for one console.
Do they have any modern cord that would go in without the brick?
There's somebody makes an aftermarket piece for the Sega Monster. I know, where it's like one thing does all 3 if you've got the stack.
Yeah,
but beyond that I don't know. I'm sure somebody's doing it. So I was telling Nate, I think I got my gaming PC back finally, and I was down here playing it, and I heard this horrible sound, kind of like a fan chugging or slapping against something, and I just thought maybe my PC had gotten a little messed up in shipping, and I came down the next day, PC wasn't on, I heard the same damn sound, so I'm like, what possibly could be running? I'm like, it's got to be a console with a disk drive. Something's spinning. I don't see it. Checked, everything's powered off. Here was the Xbox One power brick. There's a fan in there apparently, and there's vents on each end. So it must have just gotten a little wonky or full of dust. Jeez. So I had to slap this thing and blow it out. I was like, it's kind of unbelievable that the power brick would make that much damn noise. Yeah, never would have thought. But I guess I haven't used it in forever. So it's probably been running on low, for 3-4 years now, and
yeah,
just nuts. I also like going over to Nate's place because Nate and I are both NES collectors, and I keep mine on a shelf, a smaller shelf, just end labels, and Nate has displayed his face forward across his whole basement And then you're just down there and you're trying to decide a game, and I just look over at Nate and I'm like, man, you don't realize like how much hot garbage there is on this console until you see someone display their games all like this. He's like, right?
Yeah.
So we're both so proud of our
facts.
NES collections, and like 70% of it you would just never want to touch. And you don't really realize it until you really sit down and look for a game. And we never really did come to any solid picks. We played Totally Rad. Nate loved Totally Rad.
It started
out
pretty
okay.
Good.
Yeah, it's got a good first level.
And that's totally like one on the wall that grabs your attention too.
Oh, for sure.
You have them front facing.
Yep.
Even a lot of those, even a lot of bad games that either they're like ridiculously 90s or it's just good art in general. So
yeah,
you're not a total loss, but
no,
it's
I think
lot of gray.
That one and Werewolf would probably be the two that would just really jump out if you didn't know better.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Werewolf ripping through the cartridge, it's pretty badass.
I feel like we need to have CJ from Replay Games just record things to us so that we're like, what do we play? We don't really know. And then we just press play and he picks it for you because we can never decide when we get together. It's obnoxious.
I'll be honest, like after we had that game night, the first thing I did was come home and look at prices for a multi-cart for the Nintendo because I was like, I own a bunch of shit I never want to touch. And maybe it's time that I don't own this stuff anymore because it's dumb.
And then what did I text you?
That you would buy it all.
I'll buy it all. Stupid.
And I was like, no, I'll take it to my grave. No, I didn't do that, but yeah. It's an eye-opener every time you try to find a co-op game on the NES as to what a challenge that is.
There isn't many, or many good ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Well, and even the ones we do find that we get excited about, we're like, yeah, Jackal. We're like, man, we suck. This is terrible. It's a great game. We just are not good anymore. So that's a problem. Or maybe I'm not, or we're not together. I don't know what the deal is. But
so we ended up playing 2-player Virtual Boy for a while.
Yep. The standard.
Yep.
That's cool.
All right. Right on.
I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, but I added yet another mini console to my console pile of shame yesterday. So
I saw that.
Got the international 40th anniversary Neo Geo Mini on clearance at the GameStop.
I saw that. You tried it out yet?
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. That's when I actually played. I popped it in. It's a nice little device. The emulation's solid. The only bummer is like it obviously has every game that you've already played and probably owned 10 times over because SNK just recycles those games. But I don't know. It works really good. I think I'm going to get a couple external controllers for it and then use it as a little console. I know there's some software to hack it. So
when did this come out?
On there? Was it 2 years ago almost now?
I think
is
so.
That
okay? What kind of games are on there?
It's got 40. It's got all the Metal Slugs, all the King of Fighters, all the Fatal Furies. It's got the shooters that you usually see, like Last Resort and like something Blade, and yeah, I mean there's Sengoku, Blues Journey, which Nate loves. My son was playing that. Yeah, I mean really just the typical stuff. But I don't know. I mean even if it was just Metal Slug, it's worth picking up to me. So it's cool.
Nice, good price too.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, you can get bundles online with 2 controllers and the console for like 100-ish. So, I mean, really, if you do the math, I pretty much came out even on that. That's what it would cost me to buy more controllers. So, but I just never bought it because it just didn't. It's one of those things where it's just like I don't need to order this online, but when you know it's in a store right down the road, I got tipped off by Ben, and he let me know, and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna go buy that right now. So. Yeah. It's neat.
So you just do like HDMI out on it?
Yeah, so you can do HDMI. I think I got to look at the back again, but I think it's one of those ones that requires like the micro HDMI. Mm-hmm. Maybe not. I could check, but yeah, and then it's powered by USB-C, which they give you, which a lot of these ones do now, which is just laughable that they'll give you the cord, but they won't give you the brick to plug it into. But you know, everybody's got 10 of those laying around, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, the control's really nice. It's no clicky stick, which is a bummer, but there's a blue LED light that like lights up around the joystick, which looks really nice. Screen's really bright. The audio is incredibly loud. The first thing you had to do is like crank that down to like a third
Jeez.
But yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. They made like 50 different versions of that, I feel like, too.
Right. There's like the Samurai Showdown version, the US, the Japanese, the international, which is the one I've got. And there's that holiday bundle one that was like red. So yeah, they kind of went hog wild.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a bad pickup though.
Not for that price. Because it's like 100 new, right?
I think they were. Yeah, they had this one marked at like 66 is what they were selling it for, but for 45.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'll take it. And then have you guys been, well, Nate doesn't have Netflix. Have you guys heard about that High Score documentary series on Netflix about video game history? Nate, you haven't seen it obviously because you don't have Netflix, but Andy, have you watched any of that at all?
I haven't. The first, I watched the trailer for it and I just felt like it was like, I've never played a video game before, so here's a documentary about it. But is it a little bit more insightful or?
Right. So that's my biggest problem with it is it's 6 episodes and it starts out by seeming like it's going to be this overview of history from start to present, but it's just not. If you're already a gamer and know the history, you're not going to learn anything new. And the way they choose to spotlight events is very herky-jerky. And they'll jump forward in time, and then they'll come back. And then they really only hold that loose continuity of progressing through the ages through the first 2 episodes. And then it just kind of falls apart. And then by the end, you're just looking at full episodes dedicated mostly to one game, like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, and then Doom. I mean, it just really falls apart. And they spent a lot of time, just way too much time jumping back and forth. It's not enough to connect with a gaming enthusiast, and it's not consistent or explained well enough to be meaningful to anyone who isn't really into the hobby. So I think they just kind of missed all around. And some of the interviews they have are very good, but again, it's way out of order and just some odd stuff too. They spent 15, 20 minutes, I feel talking about this Gay Blade game, which is this LGBTQ. I don't get that wrong. I don't know what the abbreviation is, but game where it was a dungeon crawler that this guy made who was, trying to be, it was kind of like a joke. It was gay and lesbian community taking a shot at, a very oppressive government at the time and how it was lost to time and it was resurfaced later through the internet and the creator found his copies. Apparently he moved from Hawaii back to the States and the moving company did not move that box. So all of his sealed copies were lost to time and his source code. So that was an interesting story, but that when you look at that in the context of what they were trying to do, that is a neat niche story that doesn't really get you from Sega Genesis to PlayStation 4, I guess. It was very strange. I would say honestly, this just kind of made me mad that nobody has done this better. And honestly, I think if you're gonna look for that type of documentary, I think honestly Retroware TV in the video game years have already done that. And that was shot I think that's standard definition video unless they up-resed it. There's a little more comedy in it, but they at least went year by year explaining the progression of consoles, how they came out, the commentary, and those are already available. You can stream, you can watch them on Amazon, you can watch them for free on YouTube. If you've got a passing interest and you want a better explanation of our hobby up to when they stopped covering, which I think was the 90s, the video game years is the place to go because they kind of modeled that show after VH1's I Love the 80s or Best Week Ever. It was kind of that format and it fit really well. So it would be nice if that had the funding to continue, past where that did. Unfortunately, I think they sunk a lot of money into that and it just did not land in the YouTube universe at the time to recoup costs.
Yeah. Well, and that's a bummer part because they spent so many years in the, mid 80s and nobody really cared, the early 80s. Nobody really cared about the documentary on that side, I guess. And then right when they were getting to the 90s where everything was at a fever pitch, they kind of we ran out of money and can't do it, Yeah. Kind of sucked, but... And
to their credit, they even started at the tail. I think they started at 77, so they really went out of their way to cover the boring stuff for the first 5 years.
Yeah.
To most people, to make a really good documentary show. And I just remember them trying to do that last round of crowdfunding, and
nobody gave a crap about it.
And I don't know why, because they had enough other channels that were contributing to it that you'd think there could have been like a nice audience push. But it's one of the best things that's ever been done on YouTube as far as like a historical piece on the hobby.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's like they get into a lot of weird stuff that you never heard of, and they get, the fun facts type stuff that's totally what you want to hear,
Yeah. So actually it's funny because like that inspired me after watching that series, and like literally the last 2 episodes of that high score, I was on my phone doing other stuff because it just couldn't keep my attention. I was so over it. And then after that, I went back and I did start rewatching the video game years. And it's just crazy now because you watch and you're like, oh, Norm the gaming historian's a little baby. He looks like he's like 20 years old in there. It's so long ago. But yeah, I'd watch that over High Score. I mean, High Score is only 6 episodes. If you've got a passing interest and you've got Netflix, sure, but I certainly wouldn't go out of my way for it. And I don't think it's done well because it certainly hasn't landed on the trending at all for, a new Netflix release.
So what you're saying is don't sign up for Netflix for this.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely do not do that.
Sign up for it for Bread Barbershop.
What?
Yes.
Bread Barbershop?
This is a kids show, and it nonstop is just pushing it on my kids. Just gotta watch this, top thing all the time. And it's one of those like cartoon things that there's like no talking in it. So it came from a different country and they just like hack it up. Kind of like the Rabbids cartoon, if you ever seen that.
Sure.
It's something like that. However, this one, it struck me really weird and I can't believe nobody's talking about it. Maybe it's just me. But the story is, it's a slice of bread. Just a basic slice of bread.
Is it white or wheat?
Okay. It is white.
Okay.
And it's got a mustache. Wears a tie and all that. And he's a barber. Oh. And what he does is he dresses up and does makeovers for cakes and cookies and much sweeter pastries, I guess. And he's just making their lives better.
But he's just a sad, plain slice of white bread?
Yeah, exactly.
So is he molding?
I didn't see too much of it, but a lot of it was like, adding whipped cream to the top of a cake and, putting cherries and shit like that on there. And they love it. They're like, oh, you just changed my life. This makeover's great. Da, 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 da.
Question, does he ever put filling up inside the Twinkie? That's what I want. I want to see that episode.
Yeah.
Time for that filling injection. Yep.
But just like the social climate right now, and it's like this guy who's making, all these cakes that have better lives already and making their lives better. It was just like, this is kind of weird.
That's bizarre. Is that a Netflix original too? Like they produce it?
Yeah, I'm sure so that was the thing. I tried to look it up. There's not even a Wikipedia page for this thing. So it's like,
this is Chinese propaganda. You need to get this thing off your television right now.
And your kids are loving it?
Not good.
I kind of told them to pick something else because I can't stand when they watch those shows that don't have any talking in it at all. It's
that's why I made my kids stop watching Minions. I was like, this, or not Minions, that Rabbids. I was like, this literally has to be making you stupider.
Yeah.
Because so bad. We've been having fun, the kids and I now, and my wife lately, because our kids are at the age where they can figure out more of the Netflix stuff and spell and type. So we're in this name change war. So they change our photo and then they'll change our name and then I'll change their photo and put fart heads and stuff on there. And then you log back in the next time and it's something different. It's a pretty great little game. Netflix is like, what's going on in this household?
Yeah. They can't figure out your recommendations at all, I'm sure, after that.
It's tough.
Have you ever messed with people's recommendations? I do that for
watching
my
awful
wife sometimes on Hulu, where I'll just click on things that I know are questionable, but then it will always pop up more questionable material. So then I'm laying in bed and she turns this thing on and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you watching? And she's like, I have no idea. I have no idea. Same with like if you ever take your spouse's cell phone and just look some things up so they get some weird ads. It's
my wife would never trust me with her phone.
And then you always just call them out and be like, what are you looking at? What are you shopping for? It's worth it. You should really, I recommend everyone trying it at least once.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good recommendation.
My kids broke my YouTube recommendations. So that's why I had to like finally just remove my profile from the TVs because guess what? I don't want to watch Jelly or like how to make 18,000 colors of slime. I'm good.
If you wanted to get super famous, that's what you need to do.
You should just hit puberty there. Or was that a burp? So you need to
it was a burp / puberty.
Oh,
yeah,
puberty.
My voice is dropping as we speak.
I like it. It's sexy.
Yeah, just play the dirty game of YouTube and hey, I'm playing with slime, and kids are like, "Oh my gosh, it's the best."
Now that you mention that, you could probably have some fun on Netflix because there's still, it's not as bad as it used to be, but there's still like borderline like softcore porn and like weird documentaries out there that you could really F with somebody's recommended. I think.
Oh yeah.
This might be an experiment. I'm going to find all of these and just let them run while I'll start one in the morning as I'm leaving, and then just let it run while I go to work.
Well, I think you can do it just with your cell phone too, can't you?
Can you?
Just be clicking on different...
Okay.
Sign in and then sign under your wife's account and just...
Mm-hmm. Man.
And then I feel like you need to document this so that we can enjoy the confusion.
That's what I've been telling my family because I want to start that secret channel thing. And I was like, one of the projects should be just like tormenting mom for 24 hours. Like that's a great video.
Yeah.
Like, where we all just act like complete dicks and make my wife's life hell.
Yeah. And then the follow-up video will be divorcing my husband.
Hey, I'm laughing all the way to the bank on that one. Probably
not. You'd be the first man in history.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm sad.
Yeah. That's we got an email address or an email the other day that Plex added live TV for free. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. So I go on there and it's just like people like stringing together YouTube videos and claiming their channels. So it's
kind of like those other like places that do that where it's quote unquote live TV, but they're just like recycling like free use stuff. And
yeah. So I mean, it is branded stuff like IGN has a channel.
Yeah.
But it's just they're just playing their videos that they do from their website and stuff like that.
Okay.
And,
yeah, that's a lot like Pluto then, and like those Tubies and stuff where it's all just that kind of crap.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same thing. Like, yeah, there's a whole Bob Ross channel, which
that's my dude.
Yeah,
Bob Ross.
That's what I put That's what I put on for the kids for punishment. Like, you have to watch this. But,
nice. Well, I mean, it's a nice feature, right?
Yeah.
I know Roku's been doing that too. They've been trying to like add more like live streaming, but it's the same thing. Like they're not real TV channels. It's exactly that. It's the IGNs and all that.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind the IGN one. When I used to work at home a lot more, I would just have that on in the background because it's just kind of passive content that you're not really engaging in anyway.
Yeah. Then again, aren't they rebooting G4?
Yeah, supposedly next year. Yeah, under IGN's banner or the parent company or something.
Okay. So maybe it's just going to turn into that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to like some of that stuff coming back. Like the whole run of X-Play and Screensavers was good. What was that one? The Tommy Tallarico one? I don't remember what that was called. Extended Play?
Yeah. No,
maybe?
It was shit. It's like a magazine thing, wasn't it? I don't remember.
Yeah, the guy who was his partner still operates under that banner on YouTube.
Oh, really?
And he's got the archival stuff, and he continues making new things now. He did a video with I don't know if it was on that channel or if it was an offshoot, but him and Happy Console Gamer teamed up for a while around like 2016. They were doing stuff together.
Oh, okay.
So it's a Canadian outfit apparently.
I like that guy.
He's a genuinely good guy with bare bones. Yeah, I respect that channel so much because it's just like bare bones, like lowest quality. Like there's a watermark. He still kneels at that frickin' coffee table, and he just talks and like he's super engaging. I love channels like that.
He's super enthusiastic about his stuff. You can tell.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
You can't, it's hard to eke your way into that anymore though. Like thank God he started when he did, but yeah. I think that's why he's survived as long as he has, because he's just like, everyone holds him in such high regard because he's always nice. Like he never shits on other channels, and even when he doesn't like a game, he's pretty like Canadian about it, you know?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, they just had a kid, I guess. He just came back, like, finally, after several months away. So, been watching some new stuff.
I'm too busy watching Bob Ross.
Yeah.
And bread.
And bread. They also have America Funniest Home Videos channel, just of all that, and my kids just say, I want to watch the ouchies now.
Nice. It's just nut shots after nut shot.
Yeah.
I love you can say whatever you want about Bob Saget, but the Bob Saget years of commentary, just like the zoink, oh! Like his voices, so great. Gosh. They're so bad, they're good. It's just amazing. Ugh. That is not still running, is it? Is that still on TV?
It is.
Is there a host?
Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is the dude.
He's also doing Unwrapped, so he's doing double duty, huh?
Jeez.
Dang.
See, what's I don't see
Alfonso something?
Alfonso Ribeiro.
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just know him as Carlton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I love that episode of Family Guy. They're like, wasn't Alfonso Rivera also on Silver Spoons? Like, yeah, I think so. And there's like two guys in the background moving out a couch. And like, hey, Alfonso, weren't you in Silver Spoons? He's like, oh yeah, yes I was. And then he continues to move the couch. So good.
Oh. He never won that case, right? Like he sued Fortnite, wasn't it?
I think he was one of those ones that didn't. Yeah, it's too bad. Can't patent a dance, I guess, or that if it's not choreography. That's too bad.
Fortnite's just taking bigger fish like Apple now.
That whole thing is just a dick swinging contest.
Yep.
At least they stopped him from removing like the development engine. Like that's one step too far, but
that would have been insane. Yeah.
It's just so dumb listening to all of it, because it's like Epic knew exactly what they were doing. Of course, Apple's pissed. Like, nobody's right here. It's very frustrating.
Yep.
You know what else is frustrating? I was texting Nate about this a little bit, is that maybe it's because I'm getting too old, but I turn on rock radio now and I hate it. So my thing...
What's it become? I haven't heard radio in a while now.
It's bad. It's like everything. They like mix stuff that doesn't belong in the genre, and they're leaning back into like your Aussie, like the stuff that they pushed out for a while, and like your 80s stuff is coming back in there. But it's like, I used to, like, my thing over the last few years has been like, if Volbeat comes on, I'm turning the radio off. I'd rather listen to nothing than Volbeat because they are trash. And now they've brought back Demandatory Metallica, and I know I'm going to catch shit for this, but I hate Metallica. So now I have to turn the radio off when Metallica's on.
I hate you.
And then rock radio also is now Imagine Dragons and and 21. Yep. What is the other one?
21 Pilots.
21 Pilots. So I have to turn the radio off when those assholes come on. And then there's like this other stuff that I don't even know what it is, but it's like hip hop R&B that's somehow on there. So like I can't stomach. The genre is dead, and the only new stuff that's on there is like these industry plant bands, like, and Shinedown's fine for what they are, but like it's Shinedown, it's Five Finger Death Punch. It's like, I don't know. And then I started thinking about it more, and I'm like, I don't know that it's been good since like the 90s, because I think back to what was popular on rock radio in the early 2000s. I'm like, none of that stuff held up. I mean, there's some
No.
exceptions. I'm not going to generalize everything, but like, I don't like any of that anymore. And I'm a huge rock fan, and it just pisses me off that the genre is like so tapped. There's just, I find myself just going further and further back, like into the 80s and earlier
I feel
stuff.
like some of it has to do with the local market too. If you're listening to that local radio, that I mean, it's so random because we'll have. I think I've texted a buddy about this too, where Lenny Kravitz is on. This is for real. This is a real thing. Lenny Kravitz was on. What was his? It's not even like rock. It's I Want to Get Away. You know.
Yes, they do.
So that was like on our local rock station, and then it moved to like a Green Day song, and then it moved to probably a Volbeat, and then I don't know. I'm like, this is the most confused station. It's the most confused station ever.
Yeah. It's bad.
The last time I had the radio on, I heard a song that has Ozzy and Post Malone singing in the same song.
That song is terrible.
And that was like where it was like, okay, this is everything's dead now.
I think it's called Elton John or something like that. Maybe. I don't know. It's awful. Garbage.
Yeah, I think when Zach Brown Band came out with that Chris Cornell song, and it was like the #1 song in rock for a summer, I think that's when I knew the genre was dead.
Yeah.
It is just bad.
But you're right. Most of like even early 2000s, like I would say Slipknot is probably the only one that I'd say.
And Stone Sour is legitimately good.
Yeah, Korn.
And Foo Fighters, although I would say the last like 6 years for them have been pretty not amazing.
Yeah. But there's just so many that are just like Nickelback knockoffs, I feel
there's
like.
a whole lot of Nickelback and Puddle of Mud and trying to think of some of the other weird ones.
Nickelback's
and The Theory of a Dead Man.
Yes, I was gonna say Nickelback's little bitch is Theory of a Dead Man. Yeah, they're little puppets. Ugh. I used to like them too. I disgusted with myself.
I bet you did.
And even the stuff that like it was heavier that I was getting into, because like there was a small period where I was getting into like rock radio, but I liked like the heavier crap,
like
the Static,
Britney Spears and
yes, like the Static X, like System and stuff. Like that stuff doesn't even age well. I really feel like the only rock music that has truly like held the test of time and I still think is good is stuff that I maybe didn't even like at the time, but like that 90s grunge and like that 80s period. I'm not into hair metal, but the 80s transitioning into the alternative sound. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm too old to maybe get new music. Although as soon as I texted that to Nate, I found, Dance Gavin Dance has been around forever, but they had a new album out this year that I had to listen to. And I think that should be on the radio. That is an awesome record. I've listened to that like
that's great.
I ordered the vinyl. There's like, if you've never heard of Dance Gavin Dance, they were like pretty big post-hardcore band from like 2007. And I think this is their 9th record. But like this new record is just like, it's mathcore, it's metalcore, it's R&B, it's like pop, and like they change the genres so seamlessly with every 30 seconds within the song, let alone from song to song, because they get into some like Latin stuff too. Like just listen to they got a song on there called Liars.
Were you going to say Latino?
Latino, I was going to.
I bet you were going to say Latino.
I'm sorry. But yeah, Dance Gavin Dance Afterburners, the album. Just I challenge anyone to listen to that song, Lyrics Lie, and not love that song.
It's good.
Song. There's also the line in there where, because they got because they're a post-hardcore band, so they've got the clean vocals guy, and then they've got the screaming guy, where they're like back and forthing at each other. And there's a line that I didn't catch the first time where he's like, "Remember the time you tried to kiss her, but she was gay and liked your sister?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a great line." And the other guy screams back like, "No, I don't remember that. Sometimes lyrics lie." It's like it's just really fun to listen to a record like that that's like so all over the place, upbeat and catchy, and the lyrics don't take themselves seriously. The band clearly doesn't take what they're trying to do overly seriously, and it's good. I like it. I ordered it on vinyl. It's coming.
Huh, nice.
I'm still sad about radio. It's failed me.
Well, speaking of bad 2000 bands, I bought the new DLC for Beat Saber, which is Linkin Park.
Nice.
Oh.
Like 10 tracks of Linkin Park and
Please
not
tell me
enough
it's the
good ones.
Stuff. No, they didn't. Did they
I
go
don't
with like
think
a
they
later
had 10
techno
tracks,
stuff?
did they?
I mean, you could just put all of Meteora and like Hybrid Theory on there, and you'd be fine.
Yeah, right. That's there's a decent amount of Meteora, a small section of Hybrid Theory, and the rest is like
I just pictured the whole thing was the Transformer theme song on replay over and over again.
They have that one on there. It's
Hybrid Theory would be the hardest to translate to Beat Saber just for what that game is. You know what I mean? But,
yeah.
I mean, that's the stuff you want, right?
Yeah.
They did. Please tell me they didn't put that like clapping song in there. Where it's like the whole chorus is. Oh, I fucking hate that song.
Yep, that one's on there. The Transformers
That's when I
one.
walked away.
They didn't do the like ultra slow ones that Chester's like, I'm trying to be serious, whatever. At least they didn't do those, but other than that, it's better than the Green Day one. The Green Day one is like there's not one song from Dookie in the Green Day track pack, and it's like, oh,
how?
Yeah, 3 of them from their new album, of course, because they want to promote that, and like 3 of them from American Idiot, and then it's not great.
As someone who really respects like most of the catalog for Green Day, like they're not doing themselves a favor by insisting on putting out new material. Like they probably should just be the band that tours and does their greatest hits, because it's really what they're doing on tours anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had a good record in so long.
Well, it's just funny because they already had a drop off with American Idiot. There's enough people that were like, oh, this is too different. I don't want this. So now that they're getting farther away from that, even it's not good.
Yeah. And there's like that weird division too of people who refuse to listen to Green Day because of American Idiot. Like, I don't like political bands. I'm like, well, it's a punk rock band, so you don't like punk rock. I'm like, also they had the one song and they existed. What was that? Like 2003? Like they'd already been a band for over like 10 years at that point. I mean, gosh. Yeah. I can honestly say I haven't enjoyed their new music since, what was the one that came after American Idiot? 21st Century Breakdown. Like that was a genuinely good album.
Mm-hmm.
After that, no bueno.
I didn't mind American Idiot, but everything on there got played so much that I'm still not over.
I still love it. I still think it's my favorite Green Day album, but yeah, it got played to death. I mean, Dookie's obviously right behind that.
Yeah. But at least they're adding, actual rock songs on there, because for a long time there, they were just doing electronic.
Like hip hop. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's kind of nice. You can branch out.
Yeah.
So do you think like there will be a cutoff and there will be a next gen version of Beat Saber and they will license the music, or do you think they'll just continue on trajectory?
Yeah, I don't know how that works with that type of licensing, right? Like the last time they did that was like Rock Band, and I don't know if they handled it real well, right? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
I think most of your stuff from like PS3 360 went over to Rock Band 4, if I remember right, but I'm sure there was a lot of licensed stuff that didn't.
Yeah, at some point I'm sure you run into problems.
Yeah.
It seems like they could redo that game a little bit. I mean, I don't know what you do to fundamentally make it better, but I could see it improving.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like kind of still one of the most polished pieces on VR, so it'd be really nice to see them kind of push and clean it up even further.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they need to balance it so badly. They like, even this like track pack hard. If you play it on hard, it's just like a cakewalk. Me and my wife like do full combos and then you go to the next step up to expert and we can't even beat the song,
Yeah, it sucks.
And it's like it's a little rough.
And that game is frustrating too, and you grind to a halt and like can't progress because it's not really about how good you do in that game. It's more about experiencing the game. Mm-hmm. So it sucks when it stops. Like that just really sucks you out of it.
Yep. And there's no like practice mode or anything to like be like, I'm really bad at this section. If I, could just practice that section to get through it. But
Yeah. Still great though.
Mhm.
So how much was that track pack?
$14, $13, something like that.
That's a lot. I mean, that's like CD price then if you're getting 10 tracks.
I will say if you have epileptic problems with blinking lights, this one is really bad for that. It is basically a strobe in your face the whole time because you're like in a train tunnel.
The people dealing with epilepsy aren't playing VR to begin with.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you'd hope. One would hope.
Yeah.
Just the boot up screen there. Fall down.
Actually, that's the testing for children before they get into school. They put a VR headset on them and just flashing lights. Yep. Well, he passed out. Epileptic.
Put that Pokemon episode on. Here you go.
It's good stuff.
Man, I remember that when that was happening as a kid. It was like I was really big into Pokemon, and then hearing that news that like some episode of the cartoon sent like hundreds and hundreds of children to the hospital. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What happened? I couldn't understand how
I swear, but wasn't there a Simpsons episode that did that too at some point? Like,
yeah, I think there was something, right?
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. But yeah, that's crazy. It seemed like every few years as a kid you'd hear. And then Pokemon got even worse, and those McDonald's like Pokeballs were suffocating kids to death somehow. Yep. That's why you can't get a McDonald's toy without like 5 holes in it anymore.
Yeah.
It's not cool. Have you guys caught on to like what McDonald's has been doing in this COVID world?
No.
So you know how McDonald's like always advertises, what's at McDonald's and the new kids meal toys? They haven't done that since April, and they're just recycling. Every time we go to McDonald's, which is not often, but it's like the Lion King toy from the year before, or this last time I took my kids this week because my wife was doing something, so we went for a hike. Then on the drive back, I got them a Happy Meal, and it was a Monsters Inc. toy. Like, there hasn't been a Monsters Inc. movie in like 4 years? I don't know. So I don't know if it's like a manufacturing thing or what, but yeah, they're just like shipping out their backlog.
Oh, it's an Arby's toys. Thing. That's how they get by. It's like, when was this? Oh no, this was from 1992. We just got a whole bunch of them. Or Subway, when you walk through there and you're like, what toy was this?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Wendy's is pretty bad about that too. They try to do like edutainment toys, and it's like all the stuff that they manufacture, and it's just like, this is literally like just a Twizzler and like a circle. What am I supposed to do with this? I don't understand. Yeah.
Maybe they're like going to garage sales, picking up all the old ones.
Buying them for a couple of cents.
Yeah, that's probably cheaper. Yeah, there's always one of those, isn't there? A garage sale that's just full of like never opened McDonald's toys for 25 cents a piece.
Yeah. It's always like an old lady too. Like, I buy the Happy Meals because they fit what I want to eat.
Yeah, I would get super excited too, and then like dive right in thinking I'm going to find like the Transformers toys, like the Happy Meal toys, or like the Mario stuff, and like I never do. It's always the Barbies or the frickin' Beanie Babies, which piss me off.
Yep. Seen those a million times.
Yeah.
Man, that would be funny though, just like giving those away at random.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Time to go on eBay and buy bulk boxes of that stuff.
Yep.
Buying them from Mildred and Myrtle.
Yep.
Do you guys get a text message about that local like former GameStop employee going to be having a garage sale this weekend?
No.
Yeah, I got the message from one of the local collectors, and I just replied back with a meme of Batman slapping Robin, and then the 2020 Batman slapping Robin with like a 20-foot pole. And I got the reply, something wrong? I'm like, no, COVID. I'm not going to this. Sorry. Yeah. Apparently that's happening this weekend, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not down with that. He's going to be selling a bunch of like promotional stuff from GameStop and video games. I have the address if you want to venture out, Nate.
Nope.
I'm not gonna, but somebody is. I was also amazed that someone locally is selling a 4-foot by 14-foot original promotional banner for Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. They're asking $1,000 for it locally.
Man.
No, nobody's doing that.
I mean, if the timing...
I mean, yeah, if you were going to do it, now
right
is the timing. Yeah, I mean, if you were ever going to pull this out of your garage, now is the time. But still, nobody wants that. I wouldn't imagine. Not even Keanu. How do you guys think this movie's going to do? Like, because they're choosing to... It's kind of like the first movie back in theaters, really. I feel like everything's mostly opened up for Bill and Ted 3, but I don't... I was aware of Bill and Ted. I watched both of those, but I've not been thinking, where have Bill and Ted been in my life for the last 20 years, I guess? I don't think this is going to go over well.
Yeah. Like, I watched the first one quite a bit. I think we had it on VHS or something. But
sure.
The second one I've seen once and don't remember anything. So, like, when Matrix came out and Speed and all that, I just had a really hard time.
Whoa.
Yeah, like that's the same guy, and now I finally got trained at John Wick and Matrix and all that. Like, oh, he's a badass. And I was going back to that. Like, I can't deal with that. Like him switching
right.
up.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that because now we're used to him being like the semi-competent action hero actor.
Yeah,
that just doesn't say much and punches and kicks a lot.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting.
It'd be like Bruce Willis going back to stand-up comedy now. Like, he just wouldn't do it.
What has Bruce Willis done in the last 10 years? I can't think of anything I've seen him in. The last movie...
Recently?
Yeah, that... Not recently, but yeah, with the Apple guy. Yes.
No, there's like 2 after that.
Shut up, really?
I think so.
Okay. Well, no, I didn't know about those.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a great career path.
What else are you going to do, though?
I suppose, retire.
Yeah.
You could. It's Bruce Willis money, after all.
Oh.
And Nate doesn't watch movies, so he has no idea what we're talking about.
No.
What's
idea.
A Die Hard?
Movie? Actually, I'll be honest, never seen Die Hard.
I almost sent you a picture of a Target clearance end cap the other weekend because for some reason they had a bunch of like online item return DVDs marked down for like $4, and the one that was laying on the top of the stack was RV.
Yeah, that's the one movie I know. I know that movie front to back.
Could have bought it for you for next to nothing.
Should have had that. I would have been a player on a Blu-ray for sure.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. Like, I should just start buying more Blu-rays because they're getting so hard to find in stores. Like, I don't know. I used to buy way more movies prior to kids, I guess, when I had time to actually watch them. Like, I remember I would open up Best Buy's flyer every week. That was back when half the store was still Blu-rays, and like, oh, this is $3. I'm going to go buy it. And we'd spend like $100 every week buying, but of course we didn't have kids. So yeah. Now I don't get to watch any movies, and if I do have the time, I choose to do something else, which is kind of sad. Well, not sad, but just different.
Wait, you get the TV? I don't even get that.
Sometimes. Well, we have 6 in my house, so I can find one somewhere.
It's true.
To be honest, I watch mostly on my phone, because it's just easier to sit there and watch something on my phone than it is to go into a different room, because I'm like, I got an hour. Like, I'll curl up on the couch while they watch whatever's on. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a Netflix thing, You have so many things that there's so many options that a Blu-ray to go out and buy seems like you'd really have to want it at this point. Yeah,
that's true. Especially with like Disney Plus and stuff. You're at the point where we even had the discussion tonight. Now that you bring that up, is Ryder wanted to watch. What the hell was it? The Emoji Movie, which I don't think is on anything. And I was like, don't we just own that? Like, yeah. And then they just didn't watch it because they would have to go find the Blu-ray, put it in.
Yeah.
So they watched something else. I watched that new movie on Disney Plus. I caught most of it with the monkey. All the animals can talk. And what's his name from Breaking Bad is like their owner, and he runs a circus.
Lion King.
No. Yes, that's it.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. It's something straight to Disney Plus.
Huh.
Seemed fine. A bunch of famous people voicing animals. So
That sounds like one of those.
yep, it sure does. Then they supposedly have New Muppet Show, which is what I wanted to watch on there, but then we got sidetracked. So I have not seen New Muppet Show.
We have been watching that. That's
Is it
really
good?
weird. Yeah, it's not bad. I don't know. It's they kind of do the same skits, and some of them are not all that great, but some of them are pretty good. But the weird thing is, I went in the kids' side, tried to search for it, and it would not come up. Every other Muppet thing on there comes up. You have to go like to an adult profile to get.
So they aim this at an
Muppets.
adult, really?
Yeah. So I don't know if like the rating bumped it up, but I don't know. There hasn't been anything in there that I was like, oh, this is not for kids. But
That's strange. That probably explains why we couldn't find it. Then I'll have to make another profile. I think I've only got one, and it's set at kids. So.
yeah. Oh yeah, there's so much stuff that you don't see on the kids side that's on there just because of that.
I need to change that then.
Yeah.
That's probably been blocking a lot of things for me.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Is it worth checking out though? Like if you're a fan of the Muppets?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
It depends on which ones you like. There's some that are kind of ignored.
That's too bad.
Yeah. I would say I like Kermit, Fozzie. They're not on there at all. Gonzo barely on there.
What?
Yeah.
How do you not have Kermit? He's the Muppet.
Right. It's been on there just slightly here and there, but he's never had his own segments or anything, so I don't know.
Well, I disapprove of that.
Yep.
Just doesn't seem right.
No.
Nate,
Muppets.
you get the second half blues again, or what?
Well, you're talking about movies. I honestly haven't watched anything besides RV. So I can't contribute at all. Sorry, guys.
Can we do a commentary track on RV? Nobody's done that yet. I'm sure of it. So
Can we
absolutely.
Can we
I
just
mean, I
say
could
we're gonna
probably
do?
reenact it. I've seen it a couple times because it's probably one of the best movies ever made.
Let's just say we're gonna sit down and watch that, and instead slip in We're the Millers or Meet the Millers or whatever that is. It's a much better RV movie.
Well, I mean, Robin Williams was in his prime during that.
I don't think that's true, but
Yeah, I mean, he was primed and ready to go.
I think
Wasn't
it
there
was
like a Shitter's
10 years from
Full
killing
joke?
himself? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anything besides RV. That's all I got. I gotta watch movies. You guys should just force me to sit down and watch movies with you.
We did. We
We-
had a
we
segment called Amazing Movie Time, and nobody wanted to
What?
watch the movies.
Okay, well,
so
I
we
mean, I
stopped.
watched those movies. I didn't like them. I don't like a lot of movies. Except for RV.
I think
R.I.P.
that segment will wear
Robin.
out. It's time for RV movie time again, where we talk about our sixth viewing of RV. Bleeding this
podcast.
one dry. Yeah.
Just really get into the psyche of Robin Williams and be like, oh man, I could see where he was going downhill in this scene right here.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god. I just like your rationale. You guys should really make me watch movies. Hadn't thought of that. It's a good call. I like it. It's good stuff. So if you're new to the podcast, you're like, what the hell are these guys talking about? But we used to, for the better part of a year, probably year and a half, we had a segment that started out in show, and then it would be in between shows. We broke it out so that we had content coming out every week, and it was called David Crane's Amazing Movie Time.
David Crane's amazing. I can't even remember how your intro was.
And it was just like, it basically boiled down to roughly a 20 to 30 minute recap of us talking about these movies poorly, but
Not even saying anything productive about the.
no,
It was good.
Peach,
Liked
I could
it.
eat a peach for hours. So that was pretty much, that's an episode right there.
Oh, I liked.
It's-
What was that movie?
There's some good stuff though, like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and
Yep.
yeah.
Tire or rubber?
No,
Oh,
that was the word. No, that was number
that
one.
was a good.
Is that the
movie.
first episode?
Yep.
Oh, I was so pissed having to watch that. That was the one that fell off of streaming services right before we did it, so I had to pay $4 frickin' to watch it. So pissed. Yeah, I don't know. I think we should do like intermittent segments on that. I really think we should all watch a few episodes of that like All Stars cartoon that we talked about a few episodes back, because I wouldn't mind revisiting the cringe that is. Maybe I'll make that my mission in between recording the next one. I'll find a playlist and send out some links to everybody.
Okay.
That'd be kind of fun.
Good.
But then we'll watch RV after that.
Good.
Hear my cats slamming through their cat door? I don't know what the hell.
Jeez.
It's aggressive back there. It's not good. You know what else is not good? Trying to figure out how to wrap up this podcast.
Hey, I know how to do that.
Do you?
Yeah. We're going to wrap it up, I guess. Well, if you guys are out there listening still, and you're part of the RV fan club, feel free to email us your comments and commentary and all of that stuff to weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com. And if you have those RV copies, Blu-ray, we could give you an address. Just reach out to us. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media. Meteor, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of those good places. And you can find all things Weekend Rental at weekendpodcast.com. And as always, friends, be kind. Rewind.
Bread Barbershop's done.
Did RV win any awards? It had to. It's probably greatest film.
The Razzie.
Yeah.
Quickest opening weekend to home devices turnaround.
That's terrible.
Yeah. 3 weeks it made it to DVD.
Wow, here's a good tidbit. Did you know RV stands for Runaway Vacation?
The movie?
Yeah, the movie.
That's bullshit. That's not true. The ending of this podcast has run away from us. It's bananas.